Hi everyone, I'm Courtney. Today, I want to tell you about the time that I ran across the US. Yeah, I know, it sounds crazy, but it's true. In 2018, I ran across the US with a group of 21 college-aged students. And the run benefited a cancer charity. The run raised money for an organization that helps people that have cancer. The organization is called the Ulman Cancer Fund. It's based in Baltimore, Maryland, in the US. The organization has a focus on people from the ages of 19 to 35. They help people pay for housing during their treatments. They help people pay for counseling during their struggles with cancer and even after. And overall, they provide resources to people struggling with this terrible disease. I got involved with the Ulman Cancer Fund because the group that ran in 2017, the year before me, stayed at my church. They stayed one night at my church during their run. And so I thought it would be a good idea to join the group the following year. The trip took 49 days. We started in San Francisco, California, and we ran all the way to New York City. There were 21 people on my running team, and we would run in pairs. We would run in groups of 2 people, and you had a different partner every day. Every 4th or 5th day, we would take a rest day. On our rest day, we didn't run. On our rest day, we went and volunteered at hospitals to interact with cancer patients and help make their days feel a little bit brighter. I played my ukulele for a woman that was going through cancer treatments. We brought bags of candy and warm socks for the patients. Every morning, we stood in a circle. Every morning, we stood in a circle before we ran, and someone would read a story about a person that was affected by cancer. The story was a good reminder of the reason we were running. The story gave us motivation and inspiration to keep going when running felt hard. Every day, we ran about 13 miles. That's about 21 or 22 kilometers. Every day, we ran about 13 miles. We ran in legs. One pair of people would start running. They would run 2 miles. And then the next pair would run 2 miles. Each 2-mile segment was called a leg. We would drop pairs off in a big white van to run their 2-mile leg. This style of running is called a relay. A relay is when multiple people work together to run a distance. One person doesn't run it all by themselves. They run it in a relay. Every day, we would wake up around 4:30 in the morning, and we would get everything ready to go run for the day. We had 2 different big white vans that held 12 people each. And one of the vans would go to our next destination, which was normally a church or a community center where we would be sleeping for the night. They would take all of our equipment, all of our sleeping supplies, and all of our food to the next location that we would be running for the day. And the other van would start to drop off runners in a relay type style. Some of my favorite memories during this experience are these next few stories. I remember I was running in California with one of my teammates, and she was telling me about how her aunt had passed away from cancer. Her aunt had died from cancer, and her aunt always loved yellow butterflies. That was the symbol that reminded her of her aunt. And guess what? 1 minute later, we were running and we saw yellow butterflies flying, running with us. And I think that was her aunt saying hello. Keep going. I love you. It was a really special moment for both of us. Another good memory I have is when we stopped at a community center during one of the evenings. I put together a game for everyone. The game involved silly things like being able to stack pennies the tallest or keeping balloons in the air. But everyone had a lot of fun playing this game. Another good memory I have from running across the country is this one time my teammate and I were at the bottom of a hill. The hill was huge. The hill was giant. My teammate and I were so tired, but all of the rest of our teammates were at the top of the hill cheering. Woo, they said, and they cheered us on, and we ran up the hill. Another good memory I have during this run is driving in the van with one of my teammates and listening to Billie Eilish. We listened to Billie Eilish and we drove down winding roads, and it was raining. It was perfect. Everyone else in the van was asleep, and I felt really happy in that moment. Another moment that made me feel happy on this trip was when we were all at a restaurant and we all had uniforms. We all wore the same uniforms to run in. They were yellow and blue. And a lady saw us and asked what we were doing. So we explained what we were doing, and she started to cry. She told us that one of her relatives had passed away from cancer, and she donated $100 to our organization. And I could see how impactful what we were doing was to her. That was a really cool moment. A funny moment on this trip was when my sister, my teammate, and I were all trying to walk around a town and find a shower. We couldn't find the shower anywhere. We kept getting lost, and we smelled really bad because we'd been running a lot. We finally found the shower, but I have a picture of my sister, my teammate, and I laughing, trying to find the shower. Another funny memory I have is that one of my teammates dyed my hair blue. One of my teammates dyed my hair blue in a parking lot. And the next day, her hands were still blue because she didn't use gloves, and the dye seeped into her skin and turned her hands blue. A cool memory that I have of running across the country is in California, we stopped at a waterfall. The waterfall was called Rumney Falls, and the water was freezing cold. The water was so cold, but I convinced everyone to jump in the water with me. It was so cold, but eventually your body got used to the temperature. It was such a beautiful place. In Idaho, many people on my team, including me, got tattoos. We got tattoos to celebrate and represent our journey on this trip. Running across the country changed my life. It was truly one of the best experiences. It was truly one of the best experiences that I've ever had in my entire life. It's crazy because it's been 7 years since I ran across the country and had this experience, and it feels like an entire another life. But I'm very blessed, very grateful that I got to have such an impactful experience. Let me know in the comments, do you think you could run that far? Do you think you could run 13 miles every day for 49 days? I think you could if you wanted to. If you trained, you would be able to do it. If you trained, you could run that far. I hope you enjoyed listening to my experience running across the country. Remember, if you like these videos, you can find more videos to help you learn English at EnglishSponge.com. I'm Courtney. Thanks for listening. I'll see you later. Bye!